Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the Athletic Edge, episode 6. Today, with Hasnain Haider, all the way from Pakistan Football Federation, as the media manager. How are you doing, Hasnain?
Alhamdulillah, all good, Xavier. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for pleasure having you here. Obviously, Pakistan Football Federation is one of the rising federations when it comes to football in Southern Asia. Obviously, after quite a lot of controversies in the background. So, obviously, I want to ask you, how has the rise of Pakistan football been in the last 5 years?
So let me just address two part of these questions like differently. Obviously, you talked about how we have had certain controversies in the past.
Hmm.
But if I talk about the rise of Pakistan football in the last 5 years. So basically, we were banned from 2018 till 2020. And a major part of that was due to obviously third party interference and stuff like that. So initially, the FIFA appointed a normalization committee back in 2020, but as soon as they took over, we saw a very unforeseen act in which the PFF house was taken over and stuff like that happened. So we got suspended again. So after 15 months of suspension, the Pakistan Football Federation finally started working back in July 2022. So I think it's been like 1 year in which we have seen all of this progress. So if I talk about the rise of football, so the women's team have played the most number of matches, compared to their entire history. They have played 9 matches. They're about to play 6 or 7 more in the coming months. Obviously, the men's team took part in 3 to 4 different FIFA international windows. We saw a lot of futsal happening across the country. There was a lot of development projects for referees, for coaches, and the PFF just launched Academy Accelerator program, for up and coming football and futsal academies throughout the country. So it's been a slow rise, but eventually, we'll get there.
No, definitely. I think credit should be given where it's due because I think the PFF have done an amazing job considering it's only been a solid year since they've come back and they've already made so much progress. And I mean, it's quite amazing to see how. I mean, recently we had the Pakistan street team that they went on and won 6 games in a row, which was for me quite shocking because in a region which is dominated by sports like hockey and cricket, you don't see these type of footballers coming into the limelight, and the talent that they do possess is not shown out. And I mean, yesterday, the women's team captain Maria made a statement that without domestic leagues, if these players are able to perform at this level, it shows that as athletes they are quite deadly. And to be fair, I mean, she is completely correct because even though we have not yet had a proper team, people are not playing regularly, they're still able to compete with teams like India, who have their own domestic league, who are, of course, a bit further ahead than us when it comes to the footballing category. So it's amazing to see how much talent there is in Pakistan. Obviously, players like Otis Khan, one of the more popular players that have joined the Pakistan football team. So how does it feel to have, somewhat of bigger names joining the team as of now?
So obviously, when we started back in 2022 with the men's national team, so this was a completely new look team, and we just had this in our minds that we wanted to work on the younger players, because obviously with the events coming up in the later years, it was obviously the batch, I would say, between the age ranges of 20 to 23 that would, be eligible to play in those matches.
Right.
So we started took trials throughout the country. We formulated around 90 players, started training them, and then eventually it was cut down to 36 top players in the country. So
Hmm.
after two years, it was highly likely that we started contacting our diaspora players, because obviously we were in contact with them previously as well, but due to all of the unforeseen circumstances that were
Yeah.
happening, it couldn't really get through. But I would like to mention the efforts of Coach Shazad over here. He has been instrumental in getting the likes of Otis, Isa, Harun, Rais over here to play for Pakistan. Just these, big names joining the team, it's been a breath of fresh air. Uh,
Yeah.
the amount of experience that they bring with them. So if you talk about Otis, he's playing regularly football in England.
Mm.
So just imagine, for all of the up and coming Pakistani strikers and wingers, how, just training with him can help improve their skills. Similarly, we had Isa Suleiman. Isa was the captain of the England under 19 team that went on to win the Euros. So, I mean, it's the stature of these players that was, really very helpful for us. And obviously, even for the younger players who now actually, look up to these guys.
Right.
And even in the coming windows, we are approaching two to three diaspora players as well who haven't represented
Okay.
Pakistan. But then again, it's been a tremendous pleasure, and obviously for the players, it's been a great experience playing with the likes of such talented players.
Definitely, because I think when you have players like Otis Khan who have already made a name for themselves, and then, like you said, players that are up and coming, they can, assess from that experience, and that could definitely benefit them as younger players because it's almost like that role model that you receive, which unfortunately in Pakistani football we have not yet had. But someone like Otis Khan could really be, that star for the Pakistan football team, someone who can carry the teams forward. And obviously with the FIFA qualifiers heading up, I mean, if we're being realistic, Pakistan obviously doesn't have a chance. But considering that we have a somewhat of an easier group, I think Pakistan can provide a miracle here and there because it's the game of football. I mean, I consider myself a very adequate football fan. So when I see the Pakistani football team play, I love the fluent style that they play, the fluidity between the midfielders. And I mean, I won't get into the technical stuff now, but the squad looks really good. And I think in a couple of years, this team could definitely challenge with the likes of India, Lebanon, Kuwait, that are the real powerhouses of Asian football. So I think they're definitely on the right track. And I think one point that has to be stood out for the PFF definitely is that the involvement that they've made to women's sports and when it comes to football, because obviously in a region that where women are some sort of stereotype. So for PFF to make a stand and come out, make a football team, give them tournaments, give them the opportunity to play. I think it's tremendous credit. So I just want to ask you, how's that whole experience been for the PFF?
Women's football has been absolutely amazing for us, especially after, just talking to these players about the different stories that they've had in the past, the amount of stereotypes that they've had to fight in order to, just pursue their dreams of becoming a professional footballer.
Right.
So apparently the women's team last, like before the NC took over, the women's team had last played a match back in 2014. So it was after 8 years of absolute absence from any international scene. The women's team took the stage. We had a decent run in the SAF Championship. We got our first ever win against Maldives. Nadia Khan scoring 4 goals. We went on to Saudi. We ended up as runners up over there. A huge achievement on the women's football end. Uh, Obviously, we had a game in Singapore, which unfortunately we lost. But we could easily see the amount of talent that is up and coming in this country. We even had the Olympic qualifiers. So it's been
Yeah.
a experience so far. And the thing with this team is, they keep on fighting till the very end. Some of the stories that obviously I've heard of, of how they have had to fight different problems along the way in order to, play football and then obviously represent Pakistan. So it's been inspiring. It's been, a journey that has led to, us just being inspired by these guys. And obviously we have so much more planned for these guys. Obviously with the women's world cup going on, the a major shift has changed to women football now. But obviously we have a FIFA window coming up, and we are invited by the Saudi Football Federation for a Six Nation tournament. So
Nice.
that's pretty interesting, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think with the amount of time that the women team
Yeah.
have gotten under the limelight, I think it's been sensational. The football that they play, it's amazing to see because there's so much talent. And as a Pakistani myself, it hurts because these guys deserve to be up there with the likes of Babar Azam, cricket superstars, and because they do have the talent in their respective sports. And it's great to see that the PFF is definitely trying their hardest to give them that spotlight because that's extremely what they deserve as athletes. And obviously, the PFF, the Pakistani football team, went to India recently in the SFF Championship, and obviously things didn't go our way. But what was more important was, I think, the players that gained the experience of playing, because obviously I yesterday I had the interview with the SFF venue manager. So it was great to see that, fans came out. So the players definitely had that understanding of what it's like to play in front of the big crowds and the big stadiums. So, I mean, obviously, what was that whole experience like for the whole team?
So apparently, we had two tournaments that came in side by side. First, the
Yeah,
men's national team went to Mauritius to participate in a four-nation tournament which had Mauritius, Pakistan, Kenya, and Djibouti. So it was the first time that the Pakistan football team was competing against African opponents. That was kind of a build-up to the SAF Championships. It was an absolute amazing experience back in Mauritius as well. Considering the fact that we had stronger opponents to face, it was a learning curve for all of our young players, even for the likes of Otis, Isa, Haroon. Uh, just it was their first real event with the team. So just representing Pakistan, doing it on the big stage against a stronger opponent. It was just really amazing for all of them. The Indian experience was something which I think none of us can ever forget. Apparently, on the day which we were supposed to fly out to India, we had our visas cancelled,
yeah.
and we were to fly back to Pakistan. There was a lot of delays, a lot of other stuff happening behind the scenes. But finally, it all came through, and we landed in India on our match day, which was our
Yeah.
first match in India. But just the whole experience over there, playing in front of crowds, 20,000 people, 25,000 people, and just competing at such an international stage against the, like, I guess, the best Asian teams in the country. So it was a really good experience and a proper learning curve for obviously all of the players. I know the performances weren't up to the standards that we expect from these guys, but then again, it's the process that we believe in. And obviously, this is a young team playing together for the first time. Obviously, our main goal is the World Cup qualifier, but I guess the SAF Championships and the Four Nations Cup were a tremendous experience when it comes to just going out there, seeing how international football is like, which obviously these guys hadn't been around for the past so many years.
No, definitely, because I think there is some sort of agenda in that sense that, some fans were expecting the Pakistani team to come in and just go gung ho, start winning matches like it's nothing. But I think we need to be patient with the team, and we need to see the gradual improvement that they have made, considering, 5, 6 years ago, football in Pakistan was something that you play on the streets, but not professionally. So it's a great improvement that's happening in the world of football in Pakistan, and we just need to be patient with the team, and slowly and gradually we're starting to get to that level where we're becoming competitive with the likes of Lebanon, Kuwait, India, to name a few of the best countries in the continent. And slowly and gradually, hopefully we're going to do well in the FIFA qualifiers, make a name for ourselves, because the main point is that to gain as much as media coverage right now, in my opinion, so that we are able to fund the team more. And I hope that in the future we do have domestic leagues in Pakistan, because I think that would be the real uh, deal breaker. Because we saw, if I cross sports here, in the PSL, when PSL was introduced, a lot of talent that we do have in the team right now is PSL talent. So something like that along the lines would be very helpful for the Pakistani football team. I just want to get your take on what's next for the PFF when it comes to tournaments.
So obviously, so if I talk about local club leagues, so right now, if we do wanted to start a league, so apparently the system in Pakistan has been operating around department-based teams who basically play two major events. One obviously being the National Challenge Cup, and one was the Pakistan Premier League. But this wasn't a structured league; it was just a system of 12 to 15 teams playing year round, and just no proper exposure for the players. It was just company teams who were paying players a certain amount, and there was no, like, a system where actually the players could improve, the football in the country could improve. So the thing with the department based system is that it is not acceptable if you want to participate in the AFC Cup or the AFC Champions League. So a lot of different criteria has to be fulfilled. So obviously we are working on a club league, one of its kind in Pakistan, probably the first time that is ever going to happen. But obviously, that's a little bit of a time taking process since,
Of course.
first we have to look into scrutinizing the clubs, gathering data, information, and everything along those lines. But as far as the national teams are concerned, obviously, the men's under 23 team are playing in September. We have the under
Mhm.
23 Asian Championship. Then on the same days, that is like on the in the first week of September, we have the under 16 national team participating in the SAF under 16 championship, which is happening in Bhutan. So as soon as the men's national team is back, the women's national team will be departing for Saudi Arabia to
Okay.
participate Six Nations tournament. And then obviously we have probably the biggest match in Pakistan football's history, the World Cup qualifier against Cambodia. So this
Yeah.
is what 2 to 3 months of football looks like for the PFF right now.
Yeah, and I think it's great that the youth sector is also getting a bit of importance with the under 23 tournament coming in as well. And the Pakistani team obviously gaining some experience because I think this might be the most watched match in Pakistani history when it comes to football, the match against Cambodia. So there will be definite pressure on the team to perform. And there will obviously, when it comes with pressure, expectations will also rise.
Hmm.
And I do strongly believe that the Pakistan team can do well in this tournament. So I do hope that they are able to succeed in the qualifiers. And I just want to ask you, I mean, how has the youth sector progressed from the start after the ban? What has happened that we are able to get a few more players coming in from the youth sector?
So obviously, after the ban, the initial challenges that we were facing were obviously, how to get football started in the country. Where do we begin? We didn't have a national team at the moment. There was no women's football going on, and similar was the case with obviously all of the U teams as well. So in November 2022, we had 6 to 7 of our technical staff appointed who went on a nationwide tryout for the national under 16 team. We went to all the major cities of Pakistan. We even went to some local districts just to churn out all of the talent that was available. And as soon as those tryouts concluded, we were approached by Candyland. They wanted to do a under 16 tryout as well. So then we had a little understanding between the two organizations, and then again there was a 2 to 3 month tryout across the whole country. So initially, this was under 16 and under 19. But then the focus shifted completely to under 16, especially because of the events that were coming up. So as of now, the under 16 team is currently training in Ahmedabad in one of the FIFA funded projects that we have over there. They're supposed to play in the SAF Championship happening in Bhutan on the 1st of September.
Hmm.
We do have an under 19 championship as well, which is scheduled in the last week of September. But the thing with the under 19 team is that we have sent in our participation, but as of now, with the under 23 team, with the women's team, with the national men's senior team, and the under 16 team, I don't think the under 19 event is going to be a possibility. But we do have a proper camp coming up for the under 19 team as well, especially after the World Cup qualifiers. So I guess in the coming 3 to 4 months, you'll be seeing a lot of youth teams in action as well, especially the under 16 and the under 19s, because we have a lot of Asian competitions coming up in 2020. That's like a goal for us to have these boys gain international exposure as well. So that's how the youth setup is going at the moment.
Yeah, and I think to wrap up the episode, I think it's been a great initiative once again taken by the PFF to improve the youth sector of the country so that more players can fluctuate in between the squads. And for us to participate in more tournaments, which will obviously gain more popularity. So I think all credit needs to go to PFF after difficult circumstances. They are pushing back, and I do believe that in the next few years, the Pakistani football team will be a force to be reckoned with in Asia. And I mean, I think it's been great having you here, Hasnain. I think you had I think we had a wonderful time hosting you, and I'd love to do it again if you have any words to say for the end.
Thank you so much. It's always, nice talking football with like-minded people like you. And thank you so much for inviting me. And inshallah, as soon as I think we return back from the World Cup qualifiers with a win, then we do, an episode covering all of that, inshallah.
Progress, yeah, definitely. Yeah. This has been your host Zabir Farhan for the Athletic Edge. Hope you're doing all well and take care.